All right, and we're back. It's our wonderful Halloween spectacular, spooktacular. I don't think they've ever used that before. Sound effects by the cheap seats. We're going to talk about. We're actually going to give you our top 3 horror films of all time, and we'll go through the list in a minute. We're going to talk about some of the films that didn't make the list, because making a top 3 of horror films is just insane. And the fact that we've managed to knock it down to 9 all told, but. Some of the ones that didn't make the list, Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws is a classic. Jaws is a brilliant piece of film.
People think, oh, it's a thriller, it's not a horror. Jaws is a horror film.
Yeah, no, it's a monster movie.
Yeah,
it's a monster movie. The monster's in the water, and they're going to try to kill the monster in the water, but it is a horror film.
Going to kind of group these together. No one picked any of the big 3: Halloween, Friday the 13th, or Chucky.
Also, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Didn't.
Like you went for Chucky for number 3.
But
really,
no, I mean,
I don't know if Chucky'd even be in the number 4.
Yeah. Or just no one chose any of those.
Right, the
classic.
Nobody named the Leprechaun.
No.
But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, look, the first one was brilliant, but I think it just got so dragged down by the weight of that franchise.
The problem with franchises is they can dilute the original.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame. Because people forget about how great the first one was when you're all of a sudden on Nightmare on Elm Street 12.
Yeah, Friday the 13th again. I mean, it was, the first one was great, but they had Jason Takes Manhattan on TV last week. Yeah. And that was enough, and then Freddy versus Jason.
Right, yeah.
That was fan service. That movie is underappreciated.
But it's bad fan service. And then there's Jason X where he's in space and he becomes Robo Jason.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Jason Voorhees, the most creative killer, I think, in movie history.
For a dead guy, he does quite well for himself.
Well, him, Freddy Krueger, and Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And, I'm talking about the Mike Myers who did The Love Guru.
Yeah. That is horror.
Way to kill your own career.
That is horror.
He's like, fuck off, I've got billions of dollars, so look what you're doing. No, I mean, Michael Myers, the hockey mask, the fedora, that just... those iconic, the Michael Myers mask. I mean, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. It's William Shatner. No, it was. Did you know that? The very first Michael Myers mask, because the budget was so low, they took a Captain Kirk mask and spray painted it white. It's since then been rearranged, stuff like that. But the one in the first film is a Captain Kirk William Shatner mask.
Oh my God! Okay.
Man, I want to be thinking that every time I watch the original Halloween.
Yeah, that's.
There's Stephen King stuff that's been turned into books.
By a lot of big directors.
Yeah. Carrie.
Yep.
The Fog.
De Palma, did that. Yeah. The Fog was. The Fog. You're thinking of. Christine.
Christine, sorry.
Was Carpenter.
Carrie, Christine. What's the? I'm now totally spazzing.
Which one was it?
Thank you. Salem's Lot, Cujo, yes.
The Mist. Was Frank
no one really chose any
The Mist.
foreign.
The Stand. Well, no, The Stand. Let's talk about The Stand.
Miniseries? Okay.
Yeah, because I actually thought that that one was scary. It.
Yeah. Oh, see, it will. I mean, Tim Curry in clown makeup, you're pretty fucked.
But was Misery Stephen King?
Misery.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Kathy Bates is great in that. Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Not Stephen King.
But no, Silence of the Lambs horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
That, crossed into the mainstream, because I was thinking, Kathy Bates winning an Oscar for Misery.
And then Silence of the Lambs took the top 5. It took Best Film, Director, Screenplay, Actor, and Actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of 3 films in history to do that.
Yeah. So there's a whole, there's a whole bunch that didn't make the list. So, Hubert, give me your number 3.
My number 3 is Alien.
Ridley Scott.
1979. Gave America to Sigourney Weaver.
Just the tension and the atmosphere. Some of the best atmosphere I've ever seen in a film. Just the build-up is so slow. Nothing even happens, really, for the first hour of the movie.
Yeah.
And the entire hour, you're just waiting, and it's so slow-paced when they go out to the ship and come back, and the facehugger is on him, and just the reveal of the facehugger when it first comes out, and then just a cat and mouse of, picking them off one by one until the final 30 minutes of just
and it's really,
sirens blaring, self-destruct.
It's really good at telling you that you don't know who the lead is. It's like for a while you think that it's Dallas.
Looking
back. But now it's like, 2020 hindsight, everybody's like, oh, of course, she's the star of it. But at the time, and no major stars either.
Yeah.
It's like, so you don't know who's going to live, who's going to die.
And just the fact that it's in space on a spaceship, and the tagline in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yep.
just terrifying.
Yeah.
John?
What did I put down for my number 3? Number 3, okay, so I've got 2 remakes on my list, I just realized. Number 3 is a Cronenberg flick, 1986 remake, The Fly, with Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis. A gore, just disgusting in every way, shape, and form, but also it's incredibly romantic in a sick way.
It's Beauty and the Beast.
It's Beauty and the Beast, yeah. Or it's Beauty finds out she's dating the Beast, is really what it becomes. But the makeup effects are amazing. Goldblum is stunning in it. I mean, because it's like watching him go through the transformation, and just the fear and the freaking out, going through basically the 7 stages of death, as he's going through it.
The transformation
is just
so
amazing, and
well
the makeup
paced.
is just and the final couple of minutes of that film is just gross, and her dream sequence with but yeah, it's I think it's a great. It was Cronenberg's like real breakout film, I think, and it was produced by Mel Brooks of all people.
And it has the most realistic explanation of teleportation
Yeah.
I've ever heard about. I'm like,
Yeah.
that could happen.
Sure.
And then, of course, followed up by The Fly 2.
I know. What's up with that, huh? Oh, the worst part is I saw. So there was an opera of The Fly that was made that I saw. Yes, it was written by Cronenberg and I forget the composer.
He wrote
it? There was an opera of The Fly, and we saw a screening of The Fly beforehand, and Cronenberg's like, "Yeah, I've never seen The Fly 2, blah 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 blah." And the worst part is in the opera, basically has a portion of The Fly 2 in it without his knowledge. Yeah, so he wrote part of The Fly 2 without knowing that he wrote part of The Fly 2. Wow. So, but yeah, Fly 2 is a fascinating piece of garbage, but the original, or the 1986 remake of The Fly is a great film.
Okay, my number 3, Evil Dead.
Great film.
Sam Raimi.
The original.
Yeah, the original, not the remake. I mean, The Cabin in the Woods, the fact that this is so low budget, and I mean, I had watched this movie and then I went and bought Bruce Campbell's autobiography and read about everything they went through when they were filming this. And just, the fact that, the actors and actresses didn't know, honestly, what was going to hit them, what they'd signed up for. The fact that they were living almost they were actually living in the cabin that they were filming in, and the way that Sam Raimi would do stuff, and his improvised camera angles. I mean, that slow, camera low coming up on the house, then rushing, the fog coming in and rewinding, the creepy monsters, and then that sense of humor as well.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, that became almost over the top by the time you got to Evil Dead 3.
Yeah.
But that first one, to me, it was actually a coin toss between Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, because I think they're both...
It's the same movie for the most part. Just one throws in the comedy and the other one plays it more for straight horror.
But they're both excellent. But yeah, Evil Dead 1 won out for me in my third place. Sam Raimi. Mike, number 2.
Number 2 is The Shining.
The Shining!
Definitely different than the book. Kubrick.
Yes.
Kubrick put his own taste on it. Kubrick's my favorite director of all time. And just the cinematography of that movie. I know I don't want to sound like some pretentious, like, oh, look at the cinematography and all that.
No,
it's a gorgeous film.
It's just the most gorgeous movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean,
ever.
right from the get-go, I mean, it's just... when you're seeing the helicopter, flying in, and you're seeing where the hotel is, and it just emphasizes the remoteness, and it is just lush. The colors pop, and they need to.
Yeah.
So you're not sounding pretentious at all. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
And just the shot. I remember one of my favorites. Obviously the kid on the bike.
Yeah.
But then just
turning the corner.
Just the little things, like when they're outside in the snow and the camera's really far back, and just right on the big mansion.
Yeah. Well, the use of Steadicam in that movie is insane. I mean, it's all over it. I guess the guy was originally signed up to come in for like a week and ended up staying for most of the shoot.
And I think the creepiest moment I've ever seen in a movie is the bathroom with the woman in the shower.
Yeah.
Still have nightmares about that.
Room 237. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jack Nicholson. I mean, he flew over the cuckoo's nest, and every other Chinatown and everything else he's done. But that's the one for me that
everyone remembers.
He got to jack out. He really got to jack out.
That's how you could imagine if he was, give him an axe, make him, go nuts.
Right.
And, that's what I would imagine you'd get. And yeah, good choice.
Apparently there are rumors that Kubrick had heard him fighting on the phone with his girlfriend at the time and incorporated some of those lines into the script. So it may be a little closer to Jack at times than we may even know. So
and
who knows what kind of urban rumor that is?
Yeah, the Simpsons episode.
Simpsons episode, exactly.
Oh, it's the shooting.
Yeah. Okay, my number 2, 1978, another remake, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Phil Kaufman movie, based off the story by Jack Finney. It's Donald Sutherland, Jeff Goldblum, Brooke Adams, and a great, fantastic performance from Leonard Nimoy, who plays a psychologist guru type of dude. And it's, pods from space come down, start taking over people. It's fantastic. It's a really great movie. It doesn't get a lot of praise as much as I feel it should. It never ends up on a lot of lists.
Mm-hmm. But it's one of those ones that has been remade so many times.
Quite a few times.
Sci-Fi have remade it as 15 different crappy miniseries.
Yeah.
But it's one of those.
It's a great story. The essence of the story is fantastic, of not knowing if somebody's who they are or not anymore, the outsider.
And again, as a viewer too, I never really knew what was going on in the movie.
Yeah.
And also, it's also that the political undertones, that Cold War, Reds under the bed.
Yep.
I mean,
from the original, and it's interesting because every generation that remakes it, because it's always about the other. It's no matter what's kind of taking place politically or societally at the time, it fits. You can always find comparisons to what's taking place in society at your time to reflect off of the movie. So it's a great movie, a really good looking film, and a creepy Donald Sutherland mustache. A fantastic mustache on Donald Sutherland. It really is good. And his hair, apparently it was a wig that he wore, but he has this goofy fro and the big mustache. And that's where I learned about capers and rat turds. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
All right, my number 2, and this was a close one between number 2 and number 1, and The Exorcist.
Yeah.
This is the first movie that gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
And obviously, the first time it came out, I was 3 years old, so I didn't see it. I didn't actually get to see it until I was probably 15, 16.
It is one of those. It's like it's kind of like a journey into manhood in high school, what kind of thing. When you finally get to see it. Yeah.
They released the director's cut.
Yeah, back in 2000.
Yeah. Was it 2000 they released the director's cut?
It was 2000. Yeah, when they did the version you've never seen or whatever was in theaters.
The version where she's.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm getting them confused, but again, I was like 15 the first time I saw it. Right. It was on VHS.
Yep.
And that just gave me the screaming abdabs. The fact that you have this little girl and just watching her descent, and what that actress went through.
Yeah.
The effects were, again, they weren't cutting edge. It was makeup, and it was turning the temperature down in the room so everybody had cold breath and the pea soup vomit. But it was believable. And just watching the mother trying to cope with it, and watching the priest deal with his own inner demons, and that theme tune.
Yeah.
The music, again, was so cool, and the fog, and just seeing, out of the house and down the steps.
And when the Exorcist finally shows up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, chapter.
The opening. I was gonna say the opening scene though with Max von Sydow in Iran, when he's at the dig in Iran and that whole thing, and he's in the. It's like a completely silent space in the room, and the clock stops. And it's like the only sound permeating. All of a sudden, it stops, and you look over, and the little it's dead center. The metronome thing's dead center. You're like, okay, shit's gonna go down here.
I'm nervous.
It's like you're already kind of building tension on that sucker.
And another film that had a shitty prequel and a shitty sequel, In Exorcist II: The Heretic, with Richard Burton.
You were telling me about Exorcist 3.
The third one's actually really good, though.
Which was the third one?
The third one's called Legion, The Exorcist 3 Legion, which was actually directed by William Peter Blatty and stars George C. Scott.
Okay.
And has Jason Patrick, I can't think of his name, but the main priest from the first film is in it again as well. And it is genuinely freaky. It's actually a pretty solid thing. The Heretic's bizarre. The Heretic is like out there, like Richard Burton on a drunk the entire time going
he needed to pay off a bar tab for that.
And it's weird because it's got like all kinds of like odd virtual reality, kind of like going into her dreams and stuff like that kind of stuff. And it's a really out there movie. It's almost worth seeing just for the curiosity of that.
No, it's not.
It's bizarre.
I may look up number 3 though.
Yeah, number 3 is worth checking out.
All right, who about give us your number 1?
Number 1, a slightly more recent film, The Descent.
Good movie.
I will never forget the theater experience going to see that movie. Just mind-blowing. Everyone came out of that movie like, what just happened? It's kind of like two movies in once, and you really get the best of both worlds. Starts out slow, way more psychological, claustrophobic. They go cave diving, and then it kind of pulls it from dusk till dawn, and about halfway through the movie just ramps it up and turns into a completely different movie. And then it starts, gore fest. So, just the best of both worlds.
Make you want to go spelunking afterwards?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Makes me not want to hang out with females because, man, they just were cutthroat in that movie.
Women.
Yeah, every time.
Elisa's looking at you. You better deliver your number one.
Yeah. Okay, my number one, going back a few years.
Not a remake.
Not a remake. No,
well done.
Not a remake, thank you. Rosemary's Baby, 1968, Roman Polanski. I was so on this movie the first time I saw it. I saw it on video, and I was like, yeah, okay, fine. And then there was a Polanski double feature at the Egyptian of Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby, and that on the big screen, Rosemary's Baby on the big screen, that's what sold me on all of a sudden. And I've seen it 3 times in the theater since. And it's a fantastic film about possible psychosis. You're never really sure if she's crazy or if what's going on is real. Even though she claims during the crazy, creepy devil rape sequence, this is real, this is happening. Fantastic acting all around. Polanski just does this thing with the camera that's nuts. Everybody talks about the shot with, Ruth Gordon. When she's talking on the phone and they frame it just so you can't see her face because that way when they're watching, they kind of want to turn their heads this way to see if they can see past the door jam. Perfect control. Mia Farrow's fantastic in it. John Cassavetes is great. It was produced by Robert Evans from Paramount Pictures, who at the time had given us The Godfather and Chinatown and all. He would give us Chinatown later, but just a slew of great movies. Marathon Man was another one Evans gave us, but Rosemary's Baby I
just watched Rosemary's for the first time not too long ago and never knew what was going on. It's like, is she crazy? Is she not crazy? They really keep you guessing all the way into the very end.
Yeah. Even at the very end, you're not really you're not entirely sure. And it's got a great wicked sense of humor with the witches' coven of the old people. And it's just like at the very end when she's there with the kid and everything else like that. It's like he's got the stereotypical Japanese guy with the camera taking photo. It's like really bizarre. But it's got some great this wicked dark macabre sense of humor.
I heard there's a book sequel to. A book sequel?
Rosemary's Child or something like that, or Frank.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what it's called. Yes, I believe so. I've never read it, never dealt with it, never worried about it.
Raises the satanic baby and
why not? Yeah. Somebody's got to take care of the kid. Might as well be Rosemary. So so number one, Rosemary's Baby.
Good choice. Actually, I mean that's a movie that is just one that if it ever comes on, just grab the popcorn and turn off the lights. Before I get to my number one, I want to throw out 2 more that I thought of that didn't make the list.
Yeah.
The original The Omen with Gregory Peck.
Okay.
And the Amityville Horror.
That's funny. I'm not a fan of either of those.
I liked the both, again, remade recently.
Yeah.
I liked both of them the first time round, especially The Omen. That just...
The Omen's definitely better than
for you, Damien.
Right, yeah. That's a great bit. That is a great bit.
Yeah, that's just... I mean, I think those could make a... they could make a top 10 list for me.
Okay.
My number one... Going with my man John Carpenter, The Thing.
Yeah.
Which was a remake.
Yep.
And has been remade since. And the remake of the remake is disgusting. But Kurt Russell, shape-shifting alien in the, Arctic or the Antarctic, cut off from everybody, incredible spider-leg dog monster,
awesome.
Flamethrowers.
Yep.
Wilfred motherfucking Brimley.
Yeah, not pimping oatmeal or diabetes.
No. Wilfred Brimley being awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome flamethrowers. I mean, that was one of the ones that I first watched. I think I was about 12 or 13 because obviously, again, when it came out, I was 11 years of age, and it was one of those ones that's like, my friend, I got this on video.
Yeah.
Let's go watch it.
Yeah.
And it was just... It was hide behind the couch time.
Was that a Video Nasty? Was The Thing one of the Video Nasties?
No, I Spit on Your Grave, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. That's another one we didn't talk about.
Right.
Those were the 2 main video nasties.
Okay.
But I mean, the Thing. I mean, just that ending.
Yeah. Well, and that's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's another one where you're not sure if who you're talking to is really the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
You know, it's the story of the other again, that, you know, who's really human, who isn't. So.
Yeah, so that's our list.
That's our list.
I think it's a pretty good list. I think it's interesting, and this will tap back into what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about, you know, the era we grew up watching horror movies and the era you grew up watching horror movies, because there's a bit of an age difference, I think, and the stuff in the 70s and 80s dominates our lists. I mean, I don't have anything beyond. I think Evil Dead is probably the most recent on my list. And you don't have anything beyond 1986 and The Fly.
Yeah.
And I think it's
just for me, and then old school
yeah.
Alien and Shining.
And I think it's one of those things that goes to show that you don't necessarily need a big budget. You just need the talent. And that's why I think Paranormal Activity did rather well. Another film just thought of, Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah, the original Poltergeist is a blast. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that, you know, for Halloween, if you're not going to trick-or-treating or going to a party, actually what I'm doing with my wife is we're having some friends around, we're putting on a bunch of these movies,
Nice.
popcorn and booze, and I'd recommend you do the same thing. And, of course, let us know your thoughts as well. Tweet at any of all of us with regards to your thoughts on our picks and, indeed, some of your own picks. Now, John, I believe you have something else.
I do, yes. So for the past few weeks, we've been asking people to tweet us, give us some of their things they want to watch for Halloween. Why? Because I want to hear what they have to say. I want to talk to the people. I want our viewers to be a part of our show and understand what's going on and let us into their world.
That's way too nice of you.
I try. I know. Well, you know, it's better than some people here do. Anyway, so, but anyways, we got some great. We actually got some great choices here. One of which actually is my choice every year that I've been watching for the past several years on DVD.
Snowpiercer.
Yeah,
Okay.
All by Elise Willems. I don't know who all these people are. Anyways, so the first one, the last choice I got that I haven't watched yet, and I'm really kind of curious about this one. This one comes from Tim at Tim Fitzgerald. He recommended De Lift from 1983, Netherlands. It's about a killer elevator. It's part of, and this is a genre.
Didn't that get remade as a film called Elevator?
I don't know. Well, it may have
I
been
think there is a 1980s film called Elevator that was probably a remake of that is literally a killer elevator.
It's part of the. We did not get into the inanimate objects as killers subgenre here with. What was the Mauler? No, there was like a Stephen King one with a killer laundry mat machine. Maximum Overdrive is nothing but like killer soda machines and stuff like that.
Car, right? Killer car.
Deathbed is about the bed that eats.
Killer Tomatoes.
Killer Tomatoes. Yeah. So De Lift is actually one that I've got on my list. I couldn't find it to watch it, so I want to check. I actually do want to check.
If you
that
find
out.
that, let me know because I want to watch that too.
Okay, I will definitely do it. Michael at MixQ maybe MYXEQ Mike's EQ. I don't know. His Twitter's horrible. MixQ. Sure. Michael. Recommended, I couldn't say he recommended it, but he said, why not Sleepy Hollow 1999, Tim Burton. I'm so on it.
I could go with that because
it's got moments.
Because of Christopher Walken.
That one segment of how he becomes the Headless Horseman is just amazing.
Yeah, it's a little too much Johnny Depp quirk for me by that point in time. I think
Johnny Depp went on to do a lot more quirk in a lot worse ways.
Yep. Kevin at KB Moneymaker gave us a great choice. Actually, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein from 1948. If you're a father or you've got kids or something like that, watch it first before. But it's a really entertaining movie, and it has Bela Lugosi playing Dracula and Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman. So it's got the original actors coming back for those. Also, Kevin along with Alex at Blah Blah 4 both recommended Cabin in the Woods.
Excellent film.
Great film, which is of course it satirizes and really kind of deconstructs a lot of the horror genre from the 80s.
Written by Joss Whedon,
and it's that one's a blast. A movie that I've been watching every year actually at Halloween for the past several years. 2000's Josh from @MagicJab115 recommends Trick or Treat. Have you seen this? It's an anthology movie.
So good.
It's like 5 stories that all take place on Halloween night.
Okay.
And they're very separate stories, but characters kind of overlap a little bit, so it's not like a standard anthology.
It was on
Netflix
show. Instant Play a little while ago. I don't know if it's still there.
Was it? Yeah.
but
it's a blast. It's got such a great sense of Halloween. It's well worth it. Someone whose name was in Japanese, so I don't know what it was. So he's at Ocean or O_Sean or Cian or something like that. Recommended Stakeland from 2010. Is actually a very good vampire movie, worth checking out. I think it took a lot of flack because it came out a year after Zombieland, and I think people were expecting a comedy.
Okay.
But it's a much more darker vampire apocalypse, trying to get a kid to Canada to safety type of film. Mark at Short Raver, we had a very fascinating conversation about Japanese film going back and forth, but he threw a bunch at us. Dead Alive, aka Brain Dead, which was a early Peter Jackson film, the goriest movie on the planet.
Is that
yes, that's the lawnmower.
Is that the one with he's got the parasite?
No. Wait. Yes. No.
Yeah.
It's got the lawn at the big scene that everybody remembers is the lawnmower.
But
at the end
it's
running through the
literally
zombies.
almost like a boy and his parasite. Yeah, he's got like a brain parasite or something.
No.
I'm just confusing it with something else.
Yeah. He recommended The Evil Dead 2013, which I still haven't seen.
Solid.
Is it?
Yeah, it has the humor you were talking about in the original trilogy.
I was worried because of the tongue slicing that you see in the Red Band trailer. That creeped me out a little bit. From Spain, he recommended Rec, which was a found footage movie. They turned it into a crappy American remake called Quarantine. Rec is actually very good, as is Rec 2. I actually thought they were both very solid. He also recommended The Grudge from Japan, 2002.
Yeah, the original version.
The original version. Audition, a Takashi Miike movie that just, you're going to watch it and go, okay, this is really slow. What the hell is going on here? And then at about the hour mark, shit goes nuts. Yeah, it gets really twisted. Cairo by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, also from Japan. He's that was turned into another bad American remake. But there was that the J horror era that we had back in the early 2000s. These were those were actually very good examples of that.
I'm taking this list actually. Yes. I'm taking this list home because there's shit I need to watch.
There's a lot of really good stuff there.
Yeah, thanks guys.
So thank you very much everybody who participated and tweeted us and gave us your titles. I really do appreciate it because there's you guys have some great taste. We really appreciate that. And so nobody's going out this Halloween, right? Because it's on a Thursday.
I'm waiting for trick or treaters. Anyway, that's our show for this week. Elise is waving at us. She's going to go all misery on us in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. Thank you very much for watching. I was looking at the wrong camera as well. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Happy Halloween. Whoa.
My toe.